Oh, hello everybody. Welcome to the Interesting Modelling Company Sunday service. We have got a busy show tonight, and Ian, your mic is still muted, so there we go. So there we go.
It's not a bad thing.
So we have a busy show tonight, because we have a special guest waiting in the wings, no other than Mr. Luke Slaney-Hewitt of Revell. So without further ado, let's bring Luke into the show.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing, boss?
Evening.
Oh, sorry.
Very good.
Boss.
Yeah, hi, everyone. Good to be back. Hopefully talking to you about 2026 releases. It's been a busy time for Revell, as I'm sure you're all aware. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, we are going to crack on tonight, Luke, because I know that your time is precious this evening. So let's dive on in with Daisy. Let's get the right one. Let's get the right image up. Dum bum bum. We're doing well here tonight. Wrong one. Never mind.
Are we doing it back to front?
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we got it back to front. Right, here we go. Oh, for goodness sake! There's something screwy with the imaging tonight, because every time I bring, let me see what happens if I bring. Right, we are going to have to. I'm trying to talk amongst yourselves for a few moments, because what's happened is all the imaging that we bring onto the show has decided to get all mixed up here. And despite the fact that I did a dry run before we went live tonight, it's decided to jumble. It's stuck on one file for some reason. So,
StreamYard really loves the comma.
This only ever happens when you have a special guest on.
Sorry to have jinxed it.
No, that's fine. Right. Once I get the show going, then I can bring in the other stuff. Right. This is what I was trying to bring in. This is the Revell stand from the German Toy Fair. Luke, how was the show?
Yeah, it's really good. It's obviously more of a trade fair rather than a Telford-esque sort of show. So it's all suppliers, distributors, buyers, all very corporate. And there I am with my little model stand in the corner there, showing off the aircraft releases for 2026. It's the traditional Revell stand. It's where we lay out the releases for the year, rather than doing it at Telford or doing our own release. Nuremberg being a German show and us being a German company, it seems to make sense to announce it there. It seemed to go really well. Our range was well received. Obviously, Project Revell is ongoing, trying to change modelers' opinions of the brand, trying to do the right things. It's a long project, but we're getting there 1 year at a time. It takes a long time to turn a container ship, as they say. But hopefully some of the releases we'll talk through tonight will show you sort of the direction we're going. You'll see the work going on behind the scenes.
Right. Well, this, I think it's fair to say, this is probably the star of the star of 2026. And this is 72nd scale, but it is a brand new 109. Now, I know some people will be going, oh, no, not another 109. Revell not having a modern tooled 72nd scale 109 is a bit like Airfix not having a 72nd scale Spitfire. So, Luke, do you want to talk us through this as we roll through the slides?
Well, exactly as you've just said, not having a 70-second 109E in the range is just, how's it happened? So, yes, you'll get people rolling their eyes, another 109, but other people's 109s don't make money for Revell. As simple as that, unfortunately. So we've started from the bottom, 3D scanned the example at Hendon, and the eagle-eyed amongst you will see one of the mistakes that crept into the original design from scanning the Hendon aircraft is the fact that it has a G canopy, so it has a central bit of framing that the E doesn't. Don't worry, that's been rectified on the production items. The image on the screen is the very early 3D printed prototypes. So we'll have sort of 2 or 3 different boxings coming out from this. A standard E designed for the beginner, and then we'll have a more advanced boxing of the same E with maybe 2 schemes rather than 1, and a full engine, as you're seeing on the screen there, and guns. Obviously, we have options for the 3 and the 4 as well. So, just a change of the canopy at 70-second, which is relatively easy. You'll notice we haven't gone the full rivet job. We've sort of picked up the details that are visible at 70-second. I think you can really go overboard with rivets. The 109, you really can't see them that well. Someone is going to put in a picture showing rivets all over a 109, but generally at 70-second, the opinion is that the other stuff in the Revell range hasn't had them, so it would be strange to start that with this new one. But yeah, it's filling that gap. It's trying to cater to the end of the market, that getting people into the hobby, as well as enthusiasts at 70-second scale. Hence the engine detailing, the guns, things that maybe wouldn't be in the initial boxing for the beginner. But if we don't nurture the pocket money side of the hobby, then unfortunately, the myth that it's dying out will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we have to take care of both ends. The huge things like the Meteor that we had out 2025. They can only survive if we've got new people coming in and taking up the hobby. And this is sort of one of the steps towards that.
Well, if we kind of flash back Check's notes 50 years, oh my goodness me, this was one of my seminal modeling experiences. And I had this kit when I was 5 or 6. And that has soldiered on into the Revell range into the 21st century. I think it's fair to say perhaps the most accurate thing about that kit is the spelling of the name on the box art. But it's made its mint for Revell down the decades and over 2. And when I say over 2 centuries, I mean it. Obviously, it was tooled in the 1960s and then soldiered on well into the 21st century. But yeah, it's a no-brainer, Luke. It's a 109E for Revell. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that, quite frankly.
No, and to peek behind the curtain a bit, when I first joined Revell, obviously I had my opinions of what needed to change, what we could do to make Revell better again. But what I did was speak to a lot of, let's say, experts in the hobby, one of them being yourself, Jonathan, and you said, first thing you need to do is bring out a 70-second 109E. I've got the notes to prove it. So
it's got evidence.
Yeah. So you can claim some responsibility for it.
Oh lordy. But yeah, it's honestly that's a no-brainer. So yeah, fabulous. Looking forward to seeing one of them when it comes out. Hint, hint, hint. So, but yeah, we had another release on the schedule here. Tell us about this one, Luke.
Yep. So 777-9, or as the program's known, 777X. So it's the next generation of the 777. I think it's the largest twin-engine civil airliner to ever grace the skies, and one of the unique features being the folding wingtips. You could almost call it a naval aircraft. As with the real aircraft, Boeing have been a bit delayed in giving us the CAD because obviously we want to be as accurate as possible. The risks with designing off of a prototype are there to be seen. Plenty of kits have been converted from an EFA into a Eurofighter, and they're not super super accurate. So we don't want to make the same mistake with a 777. So we're waiting to get going on this. So it's scheduled for the very end of the year. But we're basically at the whim of Boeing as to when the program will really get going. So they're being signed off by the FAA at the moment for flights. And I think Lufthansa, obviously very important to us as a German company, are their aircraft is rolled out, unpainted. They're due to go on the flight test very soon. So we'll probably have multiple releases again of this, as we do with airliners, where we have the Boeing test livery that you see there. We'll also have Lufthansa, British Airways, and then any other airlines that will let us copy their decals, basically. But yeah, and airliners are very much a tradition of Revell. It's something we've done for a very long time. So we'll carry on that. 777 is no exception. It's a big old beast on the windowsill. It won't fit on most people's windowsills, but yeah.
I was going to say, it is. People see a twin-engined aircraft and they think it's going to be kind of Airbus-sized, or they think of 727s. No, the 777, it's huge. It's an absolute monster, and it's a long-haul aircraft as well. So. Right, that's the next one, and this is the one I think has got a lot of people excited. Not that one. Oh, for goodness sake, there we go. That's more like it. 32nd scale, Hawker Hunter. Now this is based on the 32nd scale kit, which was released. Checked notes.
97, I believe.
Yeah, I was just going to say nearly 30 years ago. But it's a beautiful kit. So, Luke, talk us through what you're doing with this then.
Yeah, I'll just age the whole audience by saying the base kit is older than me. I was born 98, so there's a year in it. Sorry to say. But the original Hunter kit was really quite advanced for its time. So it's stood the test of time in some ways. It's quite a simple kit, and we've sort of had to match the exterior detail to the original kit. Of course, it would look strange to have a fully riveted nose and tail cone, but the rest be of the 97 standard. So, as I say, new nose and a new tail cone because the two-seaters, or the RAF T7s at least, used 100 series Avens, so they had a small bore exhaust, but with a parachute housing above it, which is different to the FGA-9 or the F6. As I say, exterior detail is matched to the original kit. It would be strange to do anything else, but where we've been able to go to town a bit more is inside the cockpit. Obviously, that doesn't have to match the exterior. So we've obviously included T7 parts, but also T7A. So for those Hunter aficionados, they'll know that T7A is the Buccaneer training aircraft. So the left-hand side of the instrument panel features Buccaneer instruments instead of Hunter ones. So we've included both, and obviously the two different combings that come with it as a result. So I think the cockpit, or the new parts, I think it's 2 frames plus a clear, is about 100 parts, which is almost the same as the original full kit anyway. So yeah, you can tell we've really gone to town with the seats and the cockpit. Obviously, that's where we could really work our magic. But what we didn't have was CAD for the original design. So we've had to sort of reverse engineer by 3D scanning the base kit and then, going from there, a bit of trial and error to get it to fit. And the bit you have on the screen there, I should say, is the vents are different for 100 series Avens to 200 series Avens. So the base kit is based on 200 series. T7s have 100 series. So there is a bit of surgery required to change the vents, and what we've done to allow that is essentially make a jig, or a template, I should say, that slides over the existing spine. You mark out and then obviously cut however you want to. It's actually ever so slightly undersized just to allow for a bit of fiddling around. You don't want to take off too much material, but when I say a little bit, we're talking very, very small margins here, just to allow for the thickness of a blade. And then the tail cone there you see.
So I saw that in the flesh at Bolton, and it looks a very effective way of doing the cut on the spine.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's something we're aware is obviously the more tricky aspect of the T7 conversion, shall we say? And we've been very keen not to make it a conversion kit. It's a standalone kit in its own right. So we're actually going to make that vent part as an optional step where we can, because some people just won't be bothered about it. I'm sure most people watching now will be bothered, so we'll point it out and tell them how to do it. But if you're modelling some of the other T7s, they used Avon 200s, I think, when in service with India and some other foreign nations. So, the surgery isn't required in that case. We like to cover all bases with that.
Superb. Color schemes. I think we've seen we've had some early info on the color schemes, but we've got camoed RAF one. Remind us what the other color schemes are, Luke.
Yep. So as you say, we have the wraparound camo you see there on the box art from a T7A out of Lossiemouth, and then we have the Blue Diamonds scheme, which is I think we did the vote on that. Originally, we had the Black Arrows, and a lot of people voted for Blue Diamonds instead. So, not to go against the will of the people, we went with that. And then also a Dutch T7, so high-speed silver with day-glow orange stripes.
Nice.
That will sell very well into Revell's European markets, because
definitely we have to keep them happy, Jonathan.
No. I'm not naysaying it, Luke. It's the European market is vast. Right, we got some comments here. Dave Fleming says Hendon Canopy is actually one made for the Battle of Britain film. Yes. Dave also says yay, no rivets. Russell Taylor asks, are the E7 and Trot versions going to be accounted for?
Yep, so we're definitely going to tool the parts as and when the boxing comes out. I'm not entirely sure. I think, as I said, we'll do a basic option, which will be about the £10 mark with a single scheme for the beginner, and then the more advanced with extra parts like the E7 bits with drop tanks, maybe a bomb. Obviously, the tropical filter, as said there, might come in a separate boxing that's a couple quid more and is intended for the more advanced. So, we're trying to cater for both ends.
Yep. Adam Cooper makes a very good point. He says, was surprised they never reissued the Matchbox 109E rather than reissue that one. I got caught out by that about 10 years ago because I bought the Revell 109E thinking it was going to be the Matchbox kit, and no, it wasn't. That was a shock. But here we go. Ethan says, will the 777 be a similar design to the A320 Neo with the wings having part of the fuselage underside, or will it be like the A380 with the wings as a slot join?
I would imagine the wings will be a slot join, as with the A350 as well. But the design is very, very early stages. So if there's a strong preference either way, just let me know. If it's easier one way or the other, I'm all ears.
Yep. We've got, I second this. Russell Taylor says, when is Revell going to do 144 scale Bristol Brabazon? Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If they're going to do that, they should, for economically, they can also do a 72nd scale one. Same return on investment right there.
Yeah, just watch the social media on the 1st of April. You might see it.
Don't tease me. Bill Clark says Hunter T7. Yeah, a lot of love here for the Hunter this evening. Bill also says great interior detail. Dave says Blue Diamonds, very matchboxy. I obviously approve. And Roy Sutherland says, very much looking forward to the two-seat Hunter. Is the new forward fuselage based on a 3D scan?
Yes, it is. So we scanned, trying to remember the serial now, it's the aircraft at Gatwick Aviation Museum. It's actually the aircraft shown on the box front as a bit of a thank you to them for letting us scan. But it did involve a bit of compromise. So obviously the original kit wasn't designed with the benefit of a 3D scan, albeit it's very accurate. But there are some differences from the theoretical perfect Hunter that we had on the 3D scan. So obviously there was some compromising to be made to fit the new parts to the Hunter that maybe that I think the fuselage was ever so slightly off, but don't let that taint it for any enthusiasts. So yeah, that was a complicated bit of design we had to do to make it work. And I see Paul's comment. He's been helping with the scheme, so he would say it's going to be epic.
No, absolutely brilliant. Right, next. This is a tool mod to the recent 32nd scale 262. Talk us through it, Luke.
Yep. So I think it's 2016 tooling for our 262 at 32nd scale, and the observant amongst you will see there's a big old gun on the front there. So it's the U4 variant. There was only ever 2 prototypes made, so it's a bit of the last days of the Reich wonder weapons trying to do anything they could. So yes, essentially a whole new nose on the front and exposed cannon detail as well. So it's one new frame, just to add that on, and a bit of surgery to the existing kit as well. The front fuselage have the noses moulded on, but there's a very nice panel line, cut line on the inside, I should say, that was put there on purpose back when it was originally tooled. So accounted for, although we've had to revisit, these parts weren't already sitting in the tool bank. We've had to design them start of last year and go through the tooling process. So there you go. As you see, you've got the cannon detail you can show off if you want to. And we'll have 3 different schemes included in this. So we have the German one as it was captured. Then we have the US markings that were applied straight after Wilma Jean, and then the sort of subsequent markings applied over the top of that when it got back to the US. So all focused on one airframe. The other airframe had the bare metal nose, but it was more interesting to portray the one that was captured and repainted multiple times as a bit of a story. And then the image you see there is the Chris Sargent's build that he did for us at the Nuremberg Toy Fair, which managed to make it in one piece. Thankfully, I had to drive it over.
That's a Christmas miracle model turning up at an event in one piece.
Yes, especially when it's been driven from Margate to Bunda and then driven from Bunda to Nuremberg. It's a very long way.
Yeah, beautifully made model though. That is, I've got the Dragon kit up in the attic of this in 48 scale, and it's always fascinated me. And it's it's a fabulous looking aircraft.
That started off as a TriMaster kit, didn't it? The Dragon one. From their era with white metal and photo etching.
It was, yeah.
They are getting a little bit long in the tool, those ones, in the tooth, those, but they're still a nice model when they're built up with care. So.
Yeah,
but that's 32nd, not 48. So.
Absolutely right. More tool mods from the 2026 range, and what have we got here, Luke? It's the Blackbird.
Yep, so 48 scale SL71, but this time the B variant, so the trainer version, or the humpback as you might call it. So some mods around the cockpit area, obviously, and also the strakes that go underneath the nacelles on the B variant as well. 2 different marking options, NASA and US Air Force. There's not a whole load of bright, colourful schemes on the Blackbird, as you might imagine. So we have to get the variation in where we can. So yeah, second release of this tooling. Not a huge amount of difference apart from the cockpit, as I say, but it's a 48 Blackbird. There's not many of those around, so if you want one, you have to come to us.
Am I looking at this correctly? And there's like a little cradle on the display stand for the engines.
Yes, yeah. So it's designed so that you can show the engines. Those engines you see can't be put in the aircraft. They're purely sort of external display items.
Mm-hmm. Got a question here. This is going to put you on the spot, I'm afraid, Luke. Russell Taylor asks, is there any thought about putting real colour names in Revell instructions instead of or in addition to the Revell colour names? Most of the colours are available and don't have to be mixed.
Yep, so it's something we're doing it's a slow process. Obviously, as we trickle new manuals into the market, we're adding equivalents, so RLMs, FS, BS colors, whatever it may be. We're adding the equivalent where we can, because I know a lot of people find that the mixed code's annoying. If it has a name, obviously thinking RAF in the Second World War, then we'll give the name as well. One thing we won't do is ever point you towards other paint manufacturers. I think that's pretty self-evident. But we will give you the official equivalent color, so what was used in the real world. Obviously, there's places where we can't. If it was black, it was black, but we can give equivalent. It just takes a while, obviously, where we're introducing 20 new products a year into the range, and then 20 are disappearing from the range. Eventually, all the items in the range will have equivalent colors where possible, but it's a bit of a slow process. But yeah, thank you for the comment. It is something we are doing.
Right, 30-second scale. This is another new boxing of the 109, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is a straight re-release of our G10 version coming back. We cycled through the tooling, essentially. All the variants had come out. We'd done the G6, the G2, the G4, and the G10 hadn't had any love for a while. So bringing it straight back as it was originally. 2 schemes in it, I believe. I think it should make Roy happy. He was asking me about it quite a while ago. So yeah, this is actually in stock now. It's one of the first items that was brought out this year, and you'll see new for this year pretty much is a new type of packaging as well, showing off the box art more than we've previously had, which is a nice new change we've got.
Is that a tray box, Luke?
So depending on the size, most boxes, unless they're very small or very big, will be the hinged at the rear edge box. So it's a change we've made from obviously side opening, which everyone seems to despise. This is a top opening box with strength benefits. So obviously Revell were keen to keep a single piece box where they could, because of the cost implications and the ease of manufacture. But we knew we had to increase the strength of the packaging. It's one of the big bugbears of everyone. Revell boxes have to sit at the top of a stash. So for most box sizes, we'll have this hinged method, a bit like Heller have as well. And obviously where you're doubling up on thickness, where you've got a lid that's coming over the top, it's double the strength of the card. For bigger items like the Meteor, for example, there are 2-piece boxes, lid and tray. But for the very small stuff like 7-second fighters, they're still the sort of side opening, smaller boxes. So, I think it's a very positive change for Revell. We're looking into increasing the strength of the lid and tray boxes as well, because they are single-piece card. So we're trying to make the inner tray a corrugated piece of card to make it stronger. But yeah, so we're going in the right direction. I've not been here 2 years yet, and stuff is starting to change, which is good.
Excellent. This is the big 30-second scale Heinkel 111, which is also coming back, I do believe.
Yes, yeah. So again, another straight re-release. Schemes will stay the same. But, we saw a big demand for this. It hadn't been out in over a decade. We're the only people who do it at 30-second scale. And, it seemed right for a re-release. One thing I've been keen to do with the range is bring up the average age of the tooling by being selective with what we get rid of and being selective with what we bring into the range. But knowing it has to sit in the range for at least 2 to 3 years, generally speaking. So this Heinkel will be around for a while. But there's a rich seam of kits from the 2010s and also the late 90s in Revell's history, where we brought out some real golden nuggets, and they seem to bring out 1 or 2 releases, then just never see the light of day again. This is one of them. And so, and there's a couple, as we'll go through the range, that you'll see coming back that for some reason just never came back out. Eurofighter being one of them that you see there, 30-second scale. So there's two in the world, Trumpeters or ours. I'm biased, but I'd say ours is better.
I would concur with that.
Yes, yeah. So this won't be a straight re-release. So the model you see there is from the original press release when we brought the single-seater out. It will be the single-seater we're bringing out, but with the weapons rack or weapons frame that was included in the 2-seat release for some reason. I'm not sure why you put the weapons in the 2-seater rather than the single-seater. But but we'll combine those and we'll have new marking options. One thing that's just happened is the Eurofighter fleet has just hit 1 million flying hours rather than 10,000 that you see on that original mock-up there. So I'm sure the Germans, I'm putting trust in the Germans, they'll do a special scheme to commemorate. So we'll make sure to do that, plus RAF schemes as well. And then, yes, this I'm sure will be popular amongst most, the 32nd Puma. This is part of our classics range. So as part of our drive to be more transparent and upfront with people, the Puma originally Matchbox tooling is slightly older, but unique. There's no other 32nd Puma out there. So we're bringing it back at a very reasonable price. I think it's about £40. And it will come with the German police, German border guard, I believe, as well, and RAF schemes, obviously, and possibly the Irish one, which a lot of people won't know about. When the Pope visited the Republic of Ireland, the Garda over there acquired one of the German border policing aircraft and put big Garda letters over the side of it. So I'm sure we'll add that in. Doesn't add any colours to the decal sheet, as you'll be aware, Jonathan. That's obviously a cost that we want to try and avoid where we can.
I was just going to say, actually, for that Irish Air Corps, the Irish one, have a word with Joe Maxwell, because he's bound to have details on that particular scheme.
Okay.
So I was just going to say, in the Facebook group, Interesting Modelling Company, there's a guy building that at the minute, and he's chopping up multiple kits to build the Irish one. It's like, he's going to be looking over our shoulders right now going, oh, well, I hate you all, isn't he?
Well, so there are actually 2 Irish ones.
Yeah.
I had to be careful. The Germans also, the Irish leased an aircraft from Aerospatiale that was a slightly different mark. And so it had the composite blades, different air intakes. I'm sure there's a whole raft of changes, but it was lovely. It was marked up in the full Irish colours. I was thinking, if only, but it's a step too far for us. So, the Garda helicopter is a bit easier.
There we go. Jerry Doyle, he says, yee, a Garda helicopter. So you made one man happy tonight. Jerry's a great guy, by the way. Jerry, I know you're watching. You're a great guy. So there we go. Right. Add to stage. So we've got here the 48 scale, more Eurofighters, but this is the 48 scale one.
Yes. So special scheme, Revell, it's our specialty. It's what we have to do. It's a lovely, lovely aircraft. It's our 48th Typhoon that's been around for a while now. And it marks a slight departure to what we normally do. Normally, special schemes or super decal, as it's normally called, it would just be that within the box. But I'm very keen, where we have special schemes like Moggy that you see there, we also have a standard squadron jet. So this is actually the same aircraft serial, but in its standard colours, because not everyone wants to do a big, bright, colourful, German special paint scheme job. They might want to do one of the frontline jets. So this is something we're hoping to do with all our sort of super decals within the aircraft ranges, to have both options in the kit.
Going back to the Puma, Mr. Spencer Pollard of this parish, he says, I'm going to replicate the original Matchbox advert with that Puma kit. Oh my goodness me. I know the advert he's talking about. It was the chap with the tash and the tiger scheme. Goodness me.
Does that mean Spencer's got to grow the tash, though?
You what, sorry?
Is Spencer going to grow the tash, though?
Well, that would be good. I think that would be an ecumenical matter. Then we've got this. This is a classic combination, because I do believe, Luke, that's the Revell B52. Sorry, the Monogram B52, isn't it?
Yeah, Monogram tooling originally, and they released this under their astronauts range, young astronauts range, I believe, the X-15 and the MB-52 together. So this is, it's a big old thing, as you see on that picture there. the aircraft above 72nd Hornet and Hellcat, and then a 48 Trojan, really puts it in perspective below when it was on the table at Nuremberg. coming back after a very long absence from the range as a special edition. So it's both the aircraft and then Eduard are supplying some extras for us for the engines on the B-52, the cockpit as well. Any gluttons for punishment, because anyone that's built a B-52 knows you can't see a whole lot of it once it's all sealed up. And then also masks for both the B-52 and the X-15. This is one of those aircraft that I was reading about in books when I was a little kid under the covers, the X-15 specifically. So it's really nice that it's come full circle and I'm able to work on a kit of it.
I tell you what, I've got some of my Airfix magazines from the early 1970s when that monogram kit came out. The price of it is terrifying. I think it was about £2 or something, and that was £2 1970 money. And I did a calculation of how much that would be, and it was like, and we complain about the price of kits these days, really? Yes, right. Next, what a beautiful looking aeroplane.
Seattler.
Yeah, so JU290, this is the A5 variant, but within the box we're adding the A7 parts as well. So what I think we originally released as the A7 spy plane, along with the A5 parts. We only ever did 2 releases, the A5 and the A7, so combining them is a bit of a no-brainer after a decade of them both being on the market. It includes 3 different decal schemes, so one for the A5 that you see on the box front there, the A7 in German markings, but also the A7 in US captured markings, all's kaput, as they jokingly put on the side. So it's a nice re-release. Again, one of these sort of golden nuggets in terms of kits that was tooled up, released once or twice, and never to be seen again. So it's nice to add it to the roster of kits that we have, and it will be around for a while.
We've again, Mr. Pollard has chimed in. He says the monogram B-52 is a bucket build for me. I can almost picture what Spence could do with that at the moment. Yes, that's exciting stuff. New tool, this is the new tool Halifax, isn't it? This isn't the Matchbox kit. This is the recently tooled Halifax kit.
Yes, yeah. We wouldn't bring out the old Matchbox one, not under my reign anyway. So yes, so this is the Mark III tooled in the 2010s. So we did 2 versions, the Mark 1 and 2, and then the Mark III as a separate release. I think the Mark 1 and 2 had quite a few issues with the cells and various other bits. So Mark III was a bit of a no-brainer in terms of what version we were going to bring to the market. There's not a whole lot of choice for Halifax kits. Ours is obviously the most modern one. Then you have the Airfix one or the Matchbox one. So 2 of 3 are within our control. To bring back, this one was a bit of a no-brainer. We'll have 2 different decal schemes. The first one will be Friday the 13th. It has to be. The guys at Elvington have been helping with the Meteor massively, so it's a nice moment to be able to do that for them. And then also an Australian squadron as well. So, due for release about the middle of the year, I believe.
And then we're rapidly coming towards the end here, Luke. This I think was tooled up about 20 years ago. The kind of the Luft vampire, I like to think of it.
So there was a whole range of Luftwaffe 1946 subjects tooled at about the same time, late 90s, I believe. And so one by one, we're bringing them back as part of this P series. So prototype subjects, drawing board items, where we have it in the tool bank. Flitzer being the third. So last year we had the P1099A, and before that we had the Arado 555. So part of the nice little range that's been doing very well for us. They're obviously unique to us in terms of subjects. There's not a whole lot of people tooling up Luftwaffe 1946 subjects, as most people will know. Nice to bring this back. Most of these are sort of straight re-releases, so the original schemes in the new packaging. It's a tiny little jet. I will say that. It surprised me how small it was when I saw the built model.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's very it's like a swept wing vampire. It's fabulous looking aeroplane. And then we have this. Talk us through this, Luke.
Yeah, so this year marks 80 years of the Blue Angels, the US Navy's aerial display team. So it seemed a no-brainer to do a gift set for this, showing the first aircraft they operated, the Hellcat, and then the current aircraft they operate, the Super Hornet. So that's what you see on the box front there. Very nicely rendered by Vincenzo Orletta, who's done quite a few of our box arts. Obviously, trying to find a photo of them flying together was a non-starter, so we had to go to box arts. And yeah, so the F-18 is R. Tooling, and then the Hellcat is Edward Tooling. It seemed silly to reach way back into the tool bank for a 1950s kit, so yeah, we went to the best one on the market. Obviously, we have a understanding with Edward, as you saw with the MB-52 and the X-15, so we were able to buy the kit from them and put it within this gift set to give the best experience to the modeler, really.
I'm trying to rack my brains as to whether Revell ever did a Hellcat. They did a Wildcat, but I don't think they ever did never did a Hellcat.
We had some options. I can't quite remember. It was 2 years ago the choice was made.
Matchbox one. There was a Matchbox one, which was suspect.
I know Revell reissued the Italeri Hellcat, but let's move on. Lufthansa, 100 years of Lufthansa.
Yes. Yep. So 100 years. Obviously, the pedants amongst us will say, well, it's not the same Lufthansa of 100 years ago. They've been very upfront about that. It's 100 years of the mark of the name being around. So we brought two models out. The Super Constellation seemed like a good standalone release anyway, without the anniversary. Something that we tooled again in the 2010s that's been sorely missed. So we had that in the Lufthansa livery, and then also Lufthansa have done 6 different jets painted up in this special 100 years livery with the crane on the side. The 787 was first, then it was the A320, and then the A350. So the model you see there is built by one of the audience members, Mike Williams. He did a fantastic job getting this done very, very fast with prototype decals to get it to Nuremberg. So much so, Lufthansa took one look and wanted one built for their Frankfurt HQ. So he's been given that job as well.
He's not bad, is Mike?
He's not bad. No, he's done all right with that one. So yes, it's a lovely scheme. Obviously, quite complicated, not for the beginner. But Mike had prototype sheet, as I say, and that big white wraparound was a single decal onto both sides. Luckily on the kit we've split it up a bit more, but he had to go through that pain.
And C-17
again, a kit that for some reason wasn't released in the last decade, was going for stupid prices online. Ask me how I know. With any kit, I have to buy at least 2 or 3 to check the instructions for the sample that goes to production. So thankfully, Revell are quick at reimbursing my expenses. But yeah, so bringing this back with Australian markings and also RAF markings as well.
And finally, goodness me, another Puma, but this is tiny. This is 144 scale.
It felt nice to bring the big one back at the same time as the Diddy one. So yeah, 2 schemes in this: the RAF markings that you see there, and also RAF Gulf War Op Granby. So the one you see on the front is actually Treble 2, which is at the Ulster Aviation Society, who have helped me out over the years with a lot of research projects. So it's nice to give them a nod.
Excellent stuff. Luke, I am more than aware that you have a life to get on with. So we really do thank you for your time tonight. I'm just gonna have a quick whiz through the comments here to see if anybody's got anything to say to you. Nothing at the moment, but Luke, we really do appreciate your time tonight, and also a big thank you for all the information you sent through last week. And if you could get somebody to sort out some military and maritime stuff, we can do that on a future show. But as always, you are more than welcome to join us. So we do enjoy having you on the show. So God bless you, Governor. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much. Nice to be back. And I'm sure I'll send over the military and ship stuff. There's a few less releases on that one, so it's a bit easier. But yeah, very nice to be back on the show. And if anyone has any questions after I've gone, feel free to send them to Jonathan.
There we go. Roy Sutherland says, thanks, Luke. Amazing range for 2026. Bill Clark says, nice one, chaps. Rob Monfils says, looking forward to the big hunter in August. Yep, fabulous stuff. Luke, best to the family, and thank you so much for your time tonight. And you are more than welcome to come back at any stage you want to.
Thank you very much. Right, I need to go tend to my newborn child now, so
before
I get it in the neck for my wife.
Okay, thanks for that, Luke.
Later.
You take care. Bye. Wasn't that fabulous?
Very impressive.
There's some very interesting bits and pieces in there. It's interesting to see what he was saying about stuff that they issued a couple of times and then it disappeared. It's for a long time, it's been an ongoing thing with Revell that this something wonderful would come out and you'd see it for a period of time and then it would literally just disappear. The JU290 is a real, there's another one, isn't there?
Well, there's the BV222. They did a Breguet Atlantique, the four-engine patrol plane that came and went. They did a FW200. They did a whole bunch of large German airplanes that were out and then gone. And the investment in those is going to be astonishing to just sort of have a 2 or 3 releases and poof, for a long time. It's just amazing to me. But it puts Luke in a great position. He's got stuff to draw from to supplement the new things.
I think the Halifax is going to be a big seller. You just know it will. I mean, you only have to look on eBay at what the stock was selling for before Christmas at 100, 120 pound a pop. Some of them have fetched, and it's just that'll be good.
Yeah, but I never once saw the Mark III in the United States. I have a feeling that the 1.2 that came out with the cowling issues, the engine front issues, kind of wrecked the market, and people were very leery about the 3, and I just never saw it here. So I'm very excited. That's the Halifax. They finally got it right.
Yeah.
If you know about the Halifax, it's like, oh boy, talk about development issues all the way through its entire career.
Jeff Baker makes an interesting observation. He says their Atlantic had parts for another version that never happened. And Roy says the 132nd Scale 109 G10 was released some 9 years ago, then disappeared. So glad it's back. We will get Roy, we will get you on the show at some stage to talk about 21st century toys, because Roy was involved with them 20 odd years ago, but they did
you didn't allow swearing on the show.
Our club just had an auction and somebody brought in 4 21st century toys that I think a Deuce and a Half truck, SDKFZ 251 half track, Corsair, and a ME262. And I believe the Corsair at the auction at the club, which is a room full of cheap guys, sold for $80. The 262 sold for $75. Yeah. So we're getting this is like, if 21st century could have made that kind of money back when they were selling them, they would have stayed in business.
Here we go. Paul Voyle says, yes, get Roy on. Yeah, Roy, you are going to be a guest on the show at some stage, because Roy's got so many, not only his involvement in the model industry, but Roy's tenure for working on films and things. So he's a fascinating guy. But I remember being in Cardiff, checks notes, 22 years ago. It was the day I went to Cardiff to buy my beloved green Mini. And I was wandering around, and every time I went into these kind of like general kind of knick-knack stores, I was coming across 21st century toys kits for £1.99.
Yeah.
And I staggered back home with armfuls of these things on the train. And it was, what did I manage to get? I managed to get the 0 and the 109, but I could never find the I think they did a Mackie and a couple of
Was it a 202 or a 205? One or the other.
yeah, could never find that, or the Corsair. And
I have up
the
in the
range-
corner of my office here. There's the P51, the Tuskegee Airmen markings P51, and I got to hear the story of that from both Roy and Roscoe Brown, which is really funny. They told the same story about licensing from different points of view. It was really quite humorous.
The last time I
good.
saw Roy was at your show last year,
Yep.
and he was just having a very in-depth conversation about 3D printed dinosaurs with someone, and I can't remember who it was.
It may have been me because he's my
another guy that we both know, and the name's gone out of my head. But there you go. But it was like, don't you do airplane bits? I was like,
Roy is very generous with
man of many talents.
He's my daughter's godfather, so that's how close the two of us are. And he's helped me out in the past by rescaling and 3D printing prehistoric mammals. So they're all constant scale for me. They're not like all over the map. And so, God bless him.
Chris.
Oh my gosh, that looks like
yes. You've got an update on your Airfix Devastator.
Look,
Goodness
all the stickers are on, and it's kind of dirty. So it's this is where we are right now. I mean, this morning I painted the little square, the little metal square over the machine gun opening and the cowling, and the next thing is going to be removing all that masking. It's coming right along. So this is the Airfix Devastator. It's a 56-year-old kit. Came out in 1960, 68 or 69, and it's pretty nice. I didn't do a lot of stuff to the surface. I rescribed some of the stuff around the front of the airplane and on the bottom, and I sanded those rivets way, way, way back. You can still sort of see them, but they're more like a ghost type thing than an actual Braille readable airplane. You can tell the story if you're blind by feeling the side of the airplane. There's the bottom. A little bit of extra panel lines in between the corrugation stuff and on the empennage, and oil washes or oil weathering works really well on planes like this because they didn't stay perfectly clean, but they didn't get totally filthy. And the decals are from Starfighter decals. They did a sheet for Battle of Midway aircraft, and one of the ones they included was the Enterprise's number 3 torpedo aircraft, which is handy because I'm doing the Yorktown's number 3 torpedo aircraft, and they're virtually the same, except for that little decal on the tail, which I made myself to reflect that this was bureau number 0303.
I'm just going to go back. Ian's just sent me a note to say Travis asks a good question. What was the good question, Ian? Because I'm just going to dive back into the conversation.
Right. So while Luke was with us, Travis asked about talking about the P series kits. Travis asked about the 1/48 Lippish P13. And I said you asked a good question, but what's interesting is that Russell Taylor answered the question fairly quickly. I think it was Russell. That was actually a Mauve kit, which was a Japanese brand, and I believe Revel bought it bagged.
Polybagged it, yeah.
Reissued it into their boxes. So it's not a Revell tooling.
No.
So unlikely to come back unless Luke decides it's a good idea. But that was just a question I wanted to answer.
No.
Possibly wanted Luke's input on that one.
Chris, we had this conversation a few weeks ago that Hobby Boss do a 72nd scale Devastator now, don't they? Has that been released?
I know. I think it has because I don't know. I think Drew built the 48 scale Hobby Boss Devastator, but I've never seen the Hobby Boss 72nd scale version of that. It would be interesting.
Just having a look on ScaleMates here, and no, it's been it's been announced, but as far as I can tell, it hasn't been released yet. And they're doing a float plane version as well. But
See, Hobby Boss is, if you've got some model skill, they're really good starts. I've got plans in the works to do an F4U4 using the Hobby Boss kit and kit bashing it with some other better Corsair kits to make a 4, because you can't get a 4 from any other real sources it looks like a 4. Theirs looks more like a 4 than anybody else's that is boxed as a 4.
I was going to say the Italeri did a long-nosed Corsair. I think they did a -7. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's like Monogram from the 70s, where it's got features from all different types of Corsairs on it. And the sad part was the price point of that was so great. It was like, here in the United States, you can get one between $7 and $9. Every other company's like, well, we could do it better, but we will get crushed competitively because the market's already saturated.
They did an AU1.
Sorry.
I think they issued it as an AU1 as well, didn't they? At some point, and it was even worse because there was even less of it that was right for that aircraft than the 7.
They did basically the same boxing as a -5, a -7, an AU1, and I think some little modifications for a 4. I think maybe a different canopy, but it was, and the fuselage was altered lengthwise because they're all a little bit different, but it didn't make any difference. It didn't do things to the rest of the airplane.
No.
Here we go, Ian. Paul Voyle says, Ian, thanks for the build advice you gave me at Telford on building the Italeri Fulvia. It's going well.
Good. I think by the time we'd finished the conversation at Telford, he understood how much I'd sworn at mine. But and in learning the lessons that I was able to pass on, yeah, I love that. I love that model, and to the point which I actually do own another one now, which I will be attempting to turn into a Targa Floria car at some point. Significant amounts of what goes under the bonnet will not be under the bonnet in mine when it's built, just to make life easier.
Right, some news, and this is Cyber Hobby, and they're doing a German SFH 18 howitzer in their 72nd scale Armour Pro range, but with quite a bit of 3D printed bits and pieces. Now, this formerly would have been, I believe it was a Dragon kit, and they're upgrading bits and pieces to it. Good use of 3D printing, I think.
Yeah, so Cyber Hobby I think, I don't know whether the parent company or whatever for Dragon, there is a definite link between the two, and they're saying that you can only get this by ordering it direct from their own website. They're doing a small range of what they call white box kits, where you can only order them direct from their website, but they're taking the standard plastic tooling and adding loads of stuff. There's another picture of the there's a lot of 3D printed parts in that box, and there's even, the problem is the thing with 3D print, of course, is you're trying to get as much into a smaller area as you can to get as many on the plate printed, seemingly, and that's my understanding of it. And so there's layers of bits on some of these shots where you look at it and kind of go, wow.
They have to give you instructions about which order to remove things from the supports.
I was messing about with GP Models, which is an Italian brand, 3D printed Lancia upgrade the other week, and they could have done with some kind of take this part off before you try and get this part off, because if you don't do that, you're going to break that bit. There was some very, very interesting Anglo-Saxon going on in the workshop that night. But the level of detail on that is stunning. The wheels in particular are absolutely beautiful. There was a close-up of one of the wheels on one of the links that I saw, and it was just like, I thought, to be honest, when I first looked at it, I did actually think it was 35th. And then I read again and was like, wow. Because that is beautiful for 72nd scale.
Love that.
Travis Thompson appears to be on the hunt for a mauve lipish. I've got a Revell boxing up in the attic, Travis. If you want it, it's yours. So message me, and I'll try and get it off in the post this week.
Because mauve are long gone now.
Yeah,
long gone. They did a P40 series with
P40s,
K. Can't remember. They came out with another box as well, didn't they? At some point.
There we go. Russell Taylor says Mauve went out of business a long time ago. Their facility was devastated by an earthquake and they never recovered. No idea what happened to the kit tooling. Yeah, because they did those beautiful P40s.
Yeah.
And
48 scale. There was an M, an M, and I think a long tail K. They were really, really nice kits.
Yeah.
The decals were the only thing that was any wrong with them. But for those subjects, there was plenty of options for other things to put on them. But so Dave's saying, did Hasegawa have them?
No, I think that was their own tooling.
Yep.
Yeah, no, they did their own because they had those. I remember Jen building one, and you had to put bits of this and bits of that to make it right. I don't think that was it. I've seen them out under another box, possibly Academy, but might be.
I'll scale mates that after the show.
Yeah.
Right. We also have oops daisy. God, do you know what? StreamYard tonight is being very buggy because the moment I press any other button, it just keeps removing the images. It's really quite disconcerting. Armor Hobby, this is one I've got to get one of their P36s because it's an aeroplane I have a great affinity for. And you can do some interesting color schemes with them, as is evidenced by this. And if that's not an interesting color scheme, I don't know what is.
The Cleveland Air Races camouflage scheme, where they had every plane painted in different variations of these colors.
Yeah, there were some corking schemes for that, wasn't there?
Yes, really cool.
I have a book about the Cleveland Air Races, and there's illustrations of about 5 of these, and they're all in variations, all using the same colors, like you say, and they just look brilliant. They were cool.
Yeah, I got one of these kits I got the I guess the A model for Christmas. Stupendous kit, and I'm really looking forward to building it. I know that Joe Youngerman, frequent listener of the show, already finished his. That son of a gun, and it's spectacular.
He might be quiet tonight. He's in Vietnam.
See, I'm torn. I like that one, but I also like that one as well with the slightly kind of ratty camo on it. I'll have to have a think.
I've got now. I remember reading about that. There was like a green distemper for an air, for a war games kind of thing. Hence the worn effect. It kind of flaked off.
Huh.
I remember that. So now then, where have I read that? Cool. That's gonna do me. Chris will get a text message at about 5 o'clock in the morning telling him where to find that reference now. The stuff before the wars. There was a lot of variation in Army, Air Force, and Navy airplanes around basic markings, but also all these, like you said, war games and exercises. They would paint them up in the most insane markings you could possibly imagine. I've seen a gray P36 with a great big red cross on the side. Behind the next to the national insignia. So there's all kinds of variations. There's I think the major activity of the Army Air Force before U.S. got in World War II was painting. There was a dazzle scheme on. They used a dazzle scheme on a couple. There was one of the P51 prototypes, was it?
Yeah, one of the A36s or the P51A.
There's definitely a P36 with the dazzle on some illustrated in one of the air racing books. I know that. So.
Dave Fleming says, hoping Armour hurry up with the 4-gun wing version, which if I'm right, Dave, isn't that the one that the British used? And Tim Maunder, hello Tim, how are you? He says Finland had some because I've got a boxing up in the attic of the Revell P36 in Finnish markings. Very nice. I'm just trying to think. No, lost that one. Adam Cooper says might be in the US Air Force colors by Dana Bell.
Yeah.
And there we go. Dave Swindle. That's what I was thinking of. Mohawk Mark IV, which was the British version. Right.
The Dana Bell book is the one.
Sorry?
The Dana Bell book is the one.
Yep.
That's where I'm pretty sure where I've seen that.
US Air Force Colors by Dana Bell. I'll have a search after the show. Right. See, I've just gone to go to the next thing, and it's pulled up the last thing. So I think we need to have a proper. I think this is one of these StreamYard glitches at the moment. Slightly more local. This is Model U. Sadly, no longer based in Bristol. They're moved to just outside Bristol. But they're doing this set, which is going to be post-war RAF mechanics and Irks, essentially. Obviously 3D scanned, but just brilliant. I mean, this is the thing I love about 3D scanning, is that it captures just the mundanity of the human body sometimes, doesn't it? Nothing is, I know they're posing, but nothing is sculpted. And these just look absolutely brilliant.
I got to hand it to the Model U people, because they are clearly great at directing the people they're scanning to assume poses that are ideal for figures, because it's not just like, put your hand up here. It's no, put your hand up here, move your elbow up. It's almost like pantomime, right? You've got to convey something with these figures, and you can't do it by just any old position. A guy standing there with his hands at his side, flat against his side, would be boring. But you've got a scene where he's got his head cocked, he's got his feet in certain directions, he's got his posture is a certain type. It's hard to direct people to do this.
Yeah.
Well, this is Up and Atom history. They're specialists in this. And when I was there last year chatting to the guys, I mean, they are very, very thorough. And it's fascinating watching them, watching them at work. But yeah, so these will be released across a variety of scales, as is Model U's want. But yeah, these Jeff Baker says you can almost hear the sucking of teeth and shaking heads. It's yeah, absolutely love them. Brilliant range of figures, and oopsie-daisy, and we might have some interesting Model U news coming up, but I'm going to leave that hanging in the air. But there's a bit of chin stroking there. We're up to tonight, and finally, it's the subject that everybody has wanted a kit of for years, and of course it's the Blackburn B20, which kind of looks like something from Thunderbirds, doesn't it? It's a weird looking thing. It was a flying boat with a detachable hull. I'm sure if I read up on it, they'll come up with a really good explanation as to why it had this detachable hull. I'm sure one of our viewers will come up with something. But this is a resin kit, and it's a reissue. What an interesting aeroplane!
It's from the Thunderbirds prequel.
I
Yes,
think it's something about getting the engines and the wing out of the wake, out of the spray.
Okay, yeah,
But,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Back from my What If SIG days, I did that to a Sterling.
What did the Sterling ever do to you?
Well, have you built the Airfix Sterling?
Yeah, when I was a kid, yeah. So.
Yeah, so I think it was an entirely reasonable thing to do to a Sterling.
Mock-up is fascinating. These tiny little square windows, and those big old scoops under the engine, just begging to suck water in.
I think they were vultures as well. So they were, Possibly the wrong choice of engine for that, lads. Putting a Vulture under that. Yeah, bearing in mind what it did to the Manchester.
It's
Oh,
yes,
dear.
you'd think they would have put those intakes on top of the wing, not on the underside.
Well, you know,
The problem is, and a number of people have made the point that the aeroplane is desirable in a lot of ways, but the fact that it's made by Unicraft probably condemns it.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
No, it's not.
But there we go. What a fabulous looking aeroplane. That looks like a model, actually. The depth of field there is slightly out, and it really does look like something from Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's the show for tonight. Chaps, any other business?
None here.
I've got a project on.
Go on, Ian.
Go on then. I'm building another
Floor is
Skyline.
yours.
I'm going to try. I've been messing about with.
Stop messing about.
All right. I'm putting gloves on because I've literally just washed this. So it's ready for another coat of paint. This is to me a Skyline. I like a Skyline. Those of you who know me know this. Well, this is the venerable R32 kit that Tamiya do. And I'm building it as an R32 V-Spec 2 using some bits made by our friends at Zoom On, which are these delightful wheels, which I think I've shown on the show before, but they are now painted and ready to go. These are 3D printed V-Spec 2 wheels with photo etched self-adhesive badges in the middle. Resin tires. So those got that. But the thing what I'm going to say is I'm going to try some of these SMS colors on my current builds. So I'm going to try a pearl on this, which I've not used before. I've seen a few of my friends have had very good results on custom cars with these. So we're going to try some cherry red pearl. The bottle suggests to use it over a gloss black. So I've got some SMS premium black for it. And we're going to say that. So there'll be some pictures of this as it progresses, either to the finished box position or to the bin, depending on how things go over the next week on the Facebook pages and things. So, as they say, watch this space.
Very cool.
I've got to say, SMS Paint, I love it. I absolutely brilliant stuff. You can just use it straight from the bottle. Sprays perfectly. I think my next trip to Jadlam, I'm gonna wait until I get a good payday, and I'm gonna walk out with bucket loads of SMS paint because I've got some up here. Where is it? There it is. It's in there. But I will be using the temperate land camouflage on my Hamden. So here we go.
The problem is I've done this.
Yep.
This is all SMS candies and pearls. Have I used any of them?
Of course not.
No.
Because I do this thing where I buy stuff like that and I go, oh, that's lovely, and then I never use it. So it's got to be used. And,
I'm so glad I don't. I'm so glad I don't buy paint and not use it. Let's just cover that up there for a second. Sarah Jane says, "Love the R32. Clue is in my name title. First saw it in Autosport in '89 and still have the cutout of it."
It's a lovely old kit, that, you know, and it came out in 1989, I think. It's got 1998 in the back, in the body. They did a reissue of it with some customizing bits a few years back. But as a simple build kit, it's a great one. And if you're gonna try something a little bit different and try a different look, it's probably a really good canvas for stuff like that, which is why I'm doing it. Plus, I love the Skyline. So.
Well, that's it for tonight. A big thank you to Ian and Chris, and of course, Mr. Luke Slaney Hewitt, Paul Voyle says, here we go. Paul Voyle says, I ordered my dehydrator this week due to you, gents. I love my dehydrator. I was using it last night, and it was to get the instrument panel done for the Hamden, and I sprayed it with, I sprayed it with the SMS Black. Then I went at it with oops, Daisy bangs head on camera. I've been trying this out, which is AK's 1K Super Gloss, and they're thinner. I'm like, oops, Daisy bangs head on camera again. And I mixed it up kind of 50-50, sprayed it onto the instrument panel, put it in the dehydrator. 10 minutes later, ready to put the decals on it. It was the photographs are on the Facebook page. It was super glossy. So yeah.
Yeah, I had mixed results with that. So you've done better than I have with it then.
Well,
interesting.
On that note, I will thank Ian, thank Chris, and thank Luke again. Fingers crossed, we'll be back next Sunday for another Sunday service. And I'm hoping if Luke can sort out the military and maritime releases for us, then we can talk about that. Until the next time, it behoves me to say thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Go Hawks.